episode 125 and our 3-year anniversary of BigRedBarel Geek Speak, your place for all your nerdy needs on BigRedBarel.com. I'm your host, Lauren, the badass of Borderlands, and with me as always is the Baroness of Butter, Amarasenti Alex.
Birthday Butts!
And the jaunty, jubilant Juggernaut of Joe.
Again, I'm just going to say hello, because I can't follow the butts.
But we have some very, very special guests this week in the form of the dangerously darling Diarmuid.
Hello there.
And the eerily eldritch escape girl, Elle.
Hi.
Woo! We have a vocally packed show for you this week.
It's going to be carnage.
Hells yeah. Kicking off with the time wish of the week, that is from me, and it's a little app called Trivia Crack. Any of you heard of this? I know, it sounds dirty.
I'm such a child.
Is it like a butt crack, but with trivia?
Unfortunately not.
I'm sorry, I think I'm just broken, because whenever I hear crack, that's what I think.
No, I always the exact same thing. It's just like, oh, you should get this game, Trivia Crack. It's like, okay, is this about asses or cocaine? What is this?
See, I don't even think of cocaine. That's how old lady I am.
A joyous mix of the two.
Butts.
Snorting cocaine off a butt? I don't know. But it's not. It is an app which is free on iOS and Android, and it's a trivia game. So you can play against any of your friends or complete randomers. So I play on Android, and I play my friends who are on Android or on iOS systems. So it's completely cross-play. It's absolutely fine. Basically answer trivia questions. The aim of the game is to get 6 characters before the other person does. Kind of like Trivial Pursuit, you have to get all your pieces. To be eligible to win a character, you have to answer 3 questions correctly. You can get like hints and stuff like that. It's very, very fun. There's also different modes. So there's Trivia Rush mode to earn more coins if you want to buy like the hints and so on. Or there's little kind of side quests, like as you go through your normal game, there's a side quest saying, oh, you have to answer 10 questions from the entertainment category and we will give you 1,000 coins bonus or something like that. It is a very, very fun time waster. You can play, like I said, your friends or randoms around the world, and it is kind of satisfying beating people. Sometimes you do question some of the questions that come up. Yeah, that was good. Because sometimes you get some very American questions. Like, I am terrible in the sports category. I'm not going to hide that. I'm great at the rest of them, but you all know I don't do sports. And then now and again where I have to try it because I have to get the sports character. It's like, who won the NFL in 1986? It's just
who cares?
Like,
nobody cares.
What? That's when my coin's helpful. It's just like, yeah. Give me double chance and let's get rid of 2 of them answers. But check it out. If we're all friends on FaceTV, then you can play me and feel inept because I'm awesome.
They must bow to your nerdy powers.
Yes. Sorry, I'm feeling overly confident today.
We got a bunch of trivia kind of games. We were playing them over Christmas because we had a lot of people over. Things like Quiz Time, and I believe there's also a PSVR quiz game that for the life of me, I'm blanking out on the name of.
There's a PlayStation one called Knowledge is Power.
Yes, Knowledge is Power. There you go.
That's not VR. That's just that's a PlayLink game. So you use your phones.
That's what I was thinking.
Fun times.
I think both of those games have sort of the categories, and every time the category of football came up, all of us went, ugh, and Tim went, hell yes!
It's the only thing he knows.
Well, not really, but he knows it the best, definitely.
I'm kidding.
I feel like that time that we played that, it was unheavily weighted in my favour, because nearly every category was about movies or something like that. So that's why I won.
Yeah, that is true. It was movie heavy, and if you don't, I can't remember one of them. I think it may be Knowledge is Power. It had a lot of movie related questions, and we were like, well, if you don't know any of that stuff, I think there was a round where we didn't even get any sports questions or any kind of general trivia. It was mainly just movies and TV shows and all that kind of stuff. And we're like, well, if you're not good at this, you did not have a fun time.
If you want a game like that, like a PlayLink game where it's not so heavily on like one niche, try That's You because it's more about like the people in the room.
Yeah, That's You is cool. We have some good times with That's You. And also you can just go really old school and play Trivial Pursuit because there's a ton of sports questions in that.
True.
Break out the classics.
And like literature. There's always this running joke when we played Trivial Pursuit as kids that, like, if you got a literature question, and if you guessed the answer was the Beano, you were almost certainly right. So, yeah, Trivial Pursuit for the old people in the audience.
There are newer versions, right?
No, you gotta play the old ones. That's the point.
At Christmas, went to a pub in Bethnal Green, and they had some of the cards from the 80s, the ones that I remember growing up with.
Oh, wow.
And they had them just in pint glasses, so we made a drinking game of it. And just going through these, it's like, what year did the Berlin Wall collapse? When was West Germany liberated? And stuff like that. And things that you look at it, it's like, oh, that's not right.
And the best is when you look at some of the questions now, and they're just wrong now. The answers are wrong because they've been superseded by something else, like who is the fastest man on the earth, and it's like, well, it's not that dude anymore.
Yeah. Try to remember who it was all the way back then.
You got to take the time into consideration.
R.I.P. in peace, Pluto. You are no longer a planet.
It's a dwarf planetoid now.
Right.
It's fine. It's a baby planet.
Love it. Love it.
Okay, moving on to news this week. So, this year, you lucky people, we are going to get some new Game of Thrones books from George R.R. Martin for Fire and Blood. Alex, I'm guessing you've read up all about this then?
Yeah, so anyway, people who were waiting for Winds of Winter to come out before the last season of Game of Thrones, well, that probe's not happening, peeps. Because he is releasing 2-series book or 2-volume book series, whatever is the correct turn of saying this thing, called Fire and Blood, with the first one to be released before Winds of Winter and the other ones to be released afterwards. And the first one is apparently to be this year, and it's sort of among the line of Tolkien's Silmarillion, so it's all about the world of Westeros and stories within there. There's not much details about that either. It was really funny. He answered this question in the comment section in his blog post, but his blog was overall talking about Hugo's, and then somehow people devolved into talking about this, and that's where he sort of said, yeah, Fire Blood is coming out, blah, 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 blah. So it's official, because he said it, but it was a really weird way to talk about it.
Yeah, it's a weird announcement.
So it's basically a prequel?
No, I think it's basically... think of it as like encyclopedia about the world with some detailed stories. To be honest, I have not, I know what Silmarillion is, I've never read it, so I'm not entirely sure what format or how he does it.
I have. It's a tough one to read.
It's quite heavy, isn't it?
But is it a collection of stories, or is it more
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like side quests.
Yeah, it's little side story. It's like those episodes of The Simpsons where they go off on little 5-minute tangents every so often with different characters.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like in book form.
I'm quite excited for it because I really enjoy world building. So for things like GMing, it's invaluable to read it because you're just like, oh, this is how someone crafts a really rich and well-built world. Let's borrow some of these ideas heavily and put in the campaign.
Yeah. I mean, what I don't understand, because a couple of years back, he released The World of Westeros, I believe that it's called, which I have, which is it's like a coffee table-like book. He commissioned a lot of people to do beautiful illustrations, basically went through the history, if you're really interested and want to know about Targaryens, pretty much everything from when they came to Westeros until they were not there anymore, technically speaking. All about the flight of dragons, so the Civil War, the rise of was it Blackwater? The guys that posed them, I can't remember now, but all that kind of stuff. He details them. They're pretty detailed. I don't know what else he's gonna write. And then he's got this whole series with the Duncan X stories, which is another prequel. So,
well, the book you're talking about is like a history book. It kind of goes through, pretty much the entire history of Westeros.
Yes.
Whereas the Silmarillion reminds me more of, if you remember, after World War II, there was a book that came out, the Oral History, and that's what it was actually the basis for World War Z. It was a book of stories, basically. A guy went out and interviewed people who were in the war, whether they were just civilians or people on both sides, and they just got stories from each of those. So that's how the Silmarillion was kind of structured. It's not that it all happened at the same time. It's actually spread out over years and years. But the idea is that you just get kind of full encapsulated stories, but they're kind of nice and short, and you kind of put them together. It's not really a history book. It's kind of, there is a narrator. There's all of the things you'd expect on a story level, but it's just not facts and figures and dates and all that kind of stuff.
To be fair, even the history of Westeros, the way they did it, they pretended that some maester from Westeros was writing it. So there are a bunch of other different point of views and things that occasionally contradict each other as they would from history because it's from various sources. So, even there, they were like, we're not writing a straightforward history book. We're gonna Game of Thrones it up.
Yeah.
Very confused about this history. Who's the person who's right? Who was closer to the source? Who had a better agenda to say this or a worse agenda to say that? But anyway, look, I'm probably gonna buy it.
You know you are. You know
what
you
else am
are.
I gonna say?
There's no question, Alex.
Yeah, I'll put my hand up. Yep, gotta buy it.
We have our first female player in the Overwatch League.
Yes! Finally!
Yeah. Go on, Joe. Go for it.
So Gaguri, who people may not know who she is, she's 19-year-old Korean gaming legend, basically. People call her the Zarya god. She plays Overwatch at a ridiculously high level. She's absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched some of her videos and oh my god, she can graviton surge an entire team and kill them by herself without any problem whatsoever. It's unreal. But yeah, so she's finally been picked up by Overwatch League, which has been probably fairly sort of maligned a little bit for not having any female players yet, but now they will have, by the Shanghai Dragons. Now, the Shanghai Dragons had a terrible season. They didn't win a single series. They finished last. And a lot of people say that's down to their lack of experience, the team roster not being that strong, and also they don't have solid tanks. Well, now they do. They have Gaguri. She will really help elevate that team. And yeah, this is great news. And hopefully it will open the doors to other women being all like, well, that's cool. She can play. She's a pro. This is great. Maybe I can play more too. And in terms of representation, this is super important. Like loads of people are all like, oh, it doesn't matter. It should just be about who's the best player. Blah, blah, blah. But it does matter because when women players like us look up to the pros and see a woman pro absolutely playing on the same level as the men, then that's really important. It makes it feel so much more open to all. But yeah, so it's awesome. I mean, Overwatch League, the first stage is just finished, and spoilers, London Spitfire won.
Woo!
Which was amazing. I stayed up to watch the finals, so I didn't go to bed until 6:20 in the morning.
You crazy lady!
But it was so worth it. It was absolutely insane. Like, they played out of their skin. Like, they played 14 matches that day, like, because they had the end of the series, then they had the first playoffs, then they had the final playoffs, and it was just absolutely incredible. They really did us proud. It was brilliant. So Overwatch League is really, really awesome, and if anyone is kind of curious about it, hasn't watched it yet, definitely tune in for stage 2. If Gaguri is playing by then, although I don't know how quickly they'll integrate her into the team because the series starts pretty soon, definitely try and watch some matches. It's really awesome. It's how the game should be played. I know, like, when we play it and we'll end up with some garbage comp in competitive, like, try and forget all that, because this is the game at the absolute pinnacle and how it should be played. Definitely watch it. So yeah, yay, Overwatch League! Woo!
The first story I remember of her is when 2 professional players complained that she was cheating, and she recorded
nonsense.
herself playing, and I think they promised to quit if she proved that she wasn't cheating. I don't remember the resolution of that.
This is why this is going to be really juicy, because one of the players did quit. He said, if you're not cheating, I'm going to quit, and then he quit. Another one of the players didn't. I can't remember who it was, but they're in the league. So I can't wait until the game where they play each other, and I wonder if the
she's going to wreck his face.
Exactly. I want to see if they actually bring
That's
it up.
That's going to feel so sweet.
Oh, it should be so good.
She's just incredible. She's an inspiration to, like, anyone that plays Overwatch and anyone that plays tanks specifically. She is absolutely brilliant. Definitely one to watch. A lot of people are complaining that she's not in one of the higher tiered teams, because Shanghai Dragons are definitely at the bottom of the league. But, they're going to go from strength to strength. She's one of 4 new Korean players that they've added to the lineup. So hopefully they'll grow from here and become a bit more competitive next series.
Hey, she's spicing up the joint.
You've got to start somewhere, don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
And the thing is, the level of toxicity in these games online towards women is massive. Mm-hmm. And you can't really deny that from the amount of women saying, it's not a really friendly space for us. Because it's
It can be really tough. It can be really tough. Like, Alex and I definitely have had our own experiences in Overwatch online with randoms. Especially, like, I main Mercy a lot. So I used to get a lot of grief because they just assume you can't play. They just assume that, oh, you're a girl, oh, you're playing Mercy, oh, you're gonna suck, blah. And then you res them all and save the day, and they're like, oh, okay. So it's just, I mean, the thing that's nice about like this with GRRM is hopefully we're starting to see a little bit of a change in attitudes, and that it's only good for the sport and the game. It's only good that this kind of thing will hopefully sort of drip down into all levels of play.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be hopefully starting to make things better for female players, definitely.
And as far as I understand, for this stage, they're also adding a bunch of other teams, so the roster is expanding.
Yeah, so there's going to be a few more teams. It's going to be a much livelier season for sure. I mean, I just thought it was awesome. Like, Blizzard just did an incredible job with this. It's obvious that they'd really thought about it and definitely put plenty of money into it. You know, yeah, it's been really, really good. I cannot wait to see how it grows more and more. And I'd love them to start doing like tours, like international leagues, because at the moment, obviously, it's only in the Blizzard Arena in LA. But imagine if they did like a global or European tour where you could go and watch them play in London or Milan or any sort of play. It would be amazing. So fingers crossed that happens.
It's almost like it will be like a proper sport.
I know! Honestly, I kind of like, because I got so into the league, I kind of understand people who really love stuff like rugby and football a bit more now. Because before I was like, I don't get it. I don't get why you're so...
Why you
get so invested in this.
One of us.
And now I'm
like,
staying up till 6:20 in the morning to watch the finals. So yeah, I kind of get it a bit more now.
Oh, bless. So moving on, we've got... a few new trailers this week. So we got a new Incredibles 2 trailer. Anyone else seen it?
Yes.
Yup.
Jack forever.
Yeah, Jack is cute as hell. Looks like Elastigirl is going back to work and kicking all sorts of ass, leaving Mr. Incredible holding the baby quite literally. And it looks really fun.
It looks brilliant.
I don't know the entirety of the plot, but I don't care. I'm gonna go see it. Edna Mole's back. She's fabulous.
Yes.
The most important part.
She is wonderful.
It just looks really fun again.
Yeah, I mean, it's Incredibles, isn't it? If it's even anywhere close to how brilliant the first film is, then it's going to be worth watching. So, very excited.
Yeah, like I love Jason Lee in the last one, so I am curious who's going to be the big bad in this one.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear the soundtrack, because one of the most important things for me in the last Incredibles film is the soundtrack was superb.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that score.
Do you know what year that was meant to be set in?
I think it was a contemporary thing. I don't think it was...
2008.
Was that it?
Yeah, 2008.
Okay.
You wouldn't feel it from that movie. It's kind of like retro modernism, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah,
but it works. Cool. It really works. So
love it.
Brilliant film.
Speaking of something that most people know that we don't think's gonna work. Ready Player One trailer came out this week, and same feelings, basically.
Yeah. You know what I'm upset about though overall?
Yeah.
It has become really popular to hate on that book and on that story. And I remember the times where everyone's like, no, this is the most amazing thing ever. And now the movie has come out and it's like, no, the movie's trash. And you know what? The book is trash too, because I read it and it's stupid. And I'm like, what has happened? So my problem is not so much like the movie is the movie itself, and it's not so much of the problem. I don't know why I'm making such a big deal, but it's sort of like a Twilight thing where everyone just decided that it sucks. Like, no, some people had proper justification, but it sort of became like very popular and fashionable. And if you like that movie, what's wrong with you? And the same sort of thing is becoming with this. If you like Ready Player One, then I don't know, you're not a proper geek. What's wrong with you? And I'm like, guys, do you remember when the book came out, when this all happened, where there was not a single geeky person represented in literature or in movies to the way that they are? And you basically went there because you're like, yeah, I can understand what this guy is feeling. And that's why that book was awesome. So I was like, oh, hey, calm your memories, people.
I'm going to have to put my hands up and say that while I enjoyed the story of the book, I thought the book was kind of poorly written, personally.
I think the last third is a bit weird when he goes into like that tower block and all that kind of bit.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, for me, it's more the Yeah, it's the way Klein writes his kind of basically lists of references. It became really annoying, especially like he didn't at the start. You can kind of get what he's doing. He's trying to build up Parzival's character as this geek, as this person that is one of us, and how we would think about things. But then throughout the entire movie, it just happens again and again. And I just, in terms of the writing,
Do you mean book?
The book. Sorry, excuse me, the book.
Is right.
In terms of the book, that writing style just irked me completely. But the story was quite good. What they seem to have done in the film, at least based on the trailers we've seen, and I'm actually kind of glad they haven't actually given too much away of what the story will be, unlike most modern trailers. But this one does a pretty good job of introducing you to the concepts without actually giving away the entire thing, which I like. Whether that's going to lead to a good or bad film, I don't know, but we'll see.
He does the same thing in Armada.
Yeah.
The whole listing of the references.
Yeah.
And it's just very, like, heavy-handed, especially in the last... again, the last third always seems to fall apart a bit for me, because he just rushes to try and conclude everything, and it's just like, no, it's just not right.
I mean, I had a bunch of problems with Armada. I actually reviewed it for BRB for anyone who's interested and want to go find out. I didn't think it was as good as Ready Player One because...
No, it's not.
It's honestly the same thing happened with Andy Weir. They found their lightning in a bottle. So Ernest Cline found his lightning in the bottle with Ready Player One and Andy Weir with Martian. And then they did the second book where they tried to replicate it because they're like, oh, it works very well. And then you're like, okay, it worked well in the first book because it was a specific character. And now you're introducing a new character, a new universe. You can't just keep doing the same thing. You have to go where the character is leading you, and I just don't feel it. So both of those authors, I loved their first books. And you guys know how much I loved Martian. Remember back when where I couldn't stop talking about it?
As in the one that became the film with Matt Damon?
Yes.
Because I watched that film again this week. It's really... I'd forgotten how good it was.
No, the film is good. The book is great. The film is good. I like them all. But his second book, Artemis, I have it, the second Andy Weir's book, Artemis, and I pre-ordered it, like, I was that excited about it. And the thing is, he's just trying to do the same character in Martian, I forget his name, but make it a Middle Eastern woman, and you're like, okay, I'm not entirely getting what you're trying to do there. It's a bit weird. Living on like on a colony on the moon or something like this. Anyway, it's really weird. It just doesn't flow. I'll finish reading it someday.
Okay, so another trailer that looks very promising, and we don't actually know too much about. We know the general premise. Which is A Quiet Place, which is written and directed by John Krasinski, stars John Krasinski and his wife Emily Blunt, who is also fabulous. And it's based around the concept that they are a family living in the woods. They're being hunted by something that can only respond to noise.
Yeah, this looks great.
I'm excited for this.
It's not a completely new idea. I've definitely seen things where this has been done before, but I feel like the approach that they're taking with it is going to be kind of gritty and done in sort of that sort of nice The Road post-apocalyptic style that should hopefully work quite well. And yeah, like you say, Emily Blunt is absolutely magnificent. I'll watch anything she's in.
I was watching her epic rap battles this week against Anne Hathaway, and she's like,
she's so good.
And they're so gorgeous. Oh.
I love her. So yeah, no, I'm psyched for this film. I think it looks really, really cool. I think it could be pretty interesting.
The trailer's even scary as well, so they're already like hitting the right notes with that.
Yeah.
Man, the bit where she's in the bath
yeah.
with the birthday, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh
absolutely.
man, I'd be out. Like, fair play. I love horror, but a lot of films recently have been doing a lot with jump scares. So I really hope that this will bring in a little bit more insidious or paranoia-based fear. But we'll see.
I think a mix is good. Like a well-placed jump scare, like the classics, can work wonders. But yeah, I much prefer like a more sort of slowly built feeling of horror. Like The Witch is a good example from last year.
Yeah.
That film it didn't rely on jump scares. There were a couple of moments, but it was all about the atmosphere, and it just became unbearable at times because of how they built this atmosphere. So yeah, hopefully A Quiet Place will do a similar type of thing. I'm sure it won't be able to resist the odd jump scare here and there, but fingers crossed it leans more towards atmosphere.
That garage scene in It, I think, aged me about 5 years.
The witch scene?
The garage, when he goes in the basement.
Okay. All right, and finally, we have a new Dark Souls comic.
Yeah, this is exciting. So, basically, if you don't know, the Dark Souls is being remastered and is coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, and I think maybe PC, although I'm not sure, in May. And to accompany it, they're doing a new comic series, and it's called Dark Souls: The Age of Fire, which obviously sounds immediately awesome. And it's going to be a 4-issue series that ties straight into the video game lore and features, they say, all the main characters. So whether we'll have the Onion Knight in it and people like that, that would be brilliant. The art looks incredible. We'll put a link, obviously, in the show notes to the news article for this, and you can see some of the variant covers. And oh my god, it looks stunning. And you know, I'm an enormous fan of Dark Souls. I think it's a wonderful series, and this just looks like a lovely accompaniment to the remaster.
Are you not a bit worried about this one, though? Because, at least for me, the Dark Souls story is all sort of just behind the game. Like, it's never in your face. They never give you all of the information. You kind of have to search it out.
Yeah, the lore is kind of buried in sort of the world, isn't it?
Is that going to work in a comic book form? That's what I'm kind of worried about.
I don't mind. I feel like the comic isn't going to detract from that sort of element of lore. There's so much of it. I mean, you look at there's whole reams of articles been written of the Dark Souls lore and trying to kind of pick it apart. So I feel like the comics aren't really going to make a dent in that. No, I'm kind of psyched for it, really, just because of the pretty pictures. You know, like Ornstein and Smaug just looking awesome, and yeah, I just want to look at it, really. And I think they're doing a Bloodborne one as well that's out very soon.
Have they done any comics before? Or is it the first one?
I don't know. I think the Bloodborne one that's coming soon might be the first one that's been done for a From Software title. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have a look at that, the Bloodborne one, because it just looks insane.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's all our news for this week. Moving on to our topics. Joe, do you want to keep talking? Because I know you are so happy about this.
Oh my god. Okay.
All the sex with the merman.
Sex with the merman. Oh, yeah. So
the creature from the Black Lagoon.
You just make it sound cheap.
I'm sorry.
So I went to see The Shape of Water finally this week. We've been waiting for it for a really long time.
Oh god, yeah.
Now it's finally here. It came out on Valentine's Day, and that was my Valentine's night thing that me and the fella did.
Okay.
We went to see The Shape of
How
Water.
many times did you orgasm in the theater? Come on.
Well, I'm not that kind of lady, Alex.
Alex is.
I did cry when we were walking back to the car, and I was trying to hold it together, and he's like looking at me like, come on. And I'm like, you know, it is sublime. This film is just, I'm a big fan of Del Toro's work anyway. I have been for many, many years, ever since Kronos and like his earlier stuff. What he has done with this film is made a film that is easily on par with Pan's Labyrinth. Easily. It's just an absolutely stunning work of fantasy romance, but it's just dark enough to not stray too far into the realms of like being too cutesy or whimsy and stuff like that. It's fully believable. Like you a lot of people will look at it and feel like, well, it's a lady with a fish, this is ridiculous. But he sells it in such an intelligent way. One big part of the film, it's not a spoiler, but one big part of what makes it work is the fact that Sally Hawkins' character, Eliza, is mute. She's not deaf, she's mute. Something has happened to her in her childhood that has made her mute. And that is incredibly important for her relationship with the creature, the amphibian creature, because it puts them like on a level playing field. So one review I read, I can't remember where, I think it might have been Empire, said that this is important because otherwise he would feel like a pet.
Yes.
But because of this and other little things he does, like the way they interact with each other and the way they get to know each other, it's so well, like steadily built and intelligently designed that they feel like complete equals. So you completely buy it. You totally buy the romance and you're completely invested in it from the beginning.
She teaches him sign language, doesn't she?
Yeah, in ways. Like there's I won't go into it because I don't want to spoil any of this film. Their romance and their relationship and connection is completely believable and so earnest. And to be honest, it's possibly the most romantic film I've seen in a long time. You really feel it, and you just you're completely involved with their relationship. You completely believe it. And it's really helped as well by the supporting characters. So Michael Shannon, back again, doing another one of his brilliant bad guy roles.
He just has a scary face.
He's scary. And to be honest, what's quite good in this is there's a little scene, I'm not going to say what happens, but there's a little scene where you see the layers, and it's just wonderful by him because it's not like just a cartoon stereotype villain, like, I want to test on this amphibious creature, we want to cut it open and blah, 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 blah. And he's just like some stereotypical B-movie villain. That's not what it is. He is completely believable and you have empathy for him at the same time, and that's another thing that makes it work. The music is sublime, it looks beautiful, the design is just absolutely out of this world. I honestly can't praise this film enough. I think it's going to become one of my long-time favourites. Like, you know, you have certain films that just sit in your little collection of favourites that you kind of go back to again and again and again. This is going to be one of those for me. It's just beautiful. Everyone just needs to go and see it and have your faith in humanity and fiction and love restored, basically. It'll make you feel more romantic than any of that 50 Shades nonsense. You know, this... yeah, I mean, when we were at the cinema, because obviously, like, 50 Shades was out at the same time, you could see, like, the different people going into the different screenings, and some of the looks on the faces of the poor men who were being taken to see 50 Shades, I was just like, oh, man.
50 Shades is an abuse tale. You cannot sell that as romance.
Well, that's the thing. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean...
If you want to see something like that, just watch Secretary.
Yeah, that's decent.
Yeah, that's an amazing movie.
Yeah, Secretary is really good. It's like it's a black comedy, so it works really well. But I've seen the first 50 Shades, and that was enough. It was just the least romantic, least sexy thing I think I've ever seen, and it's just rubbish. And like you say,
I read all of the books because I believe if you're going to hate on something, you've got to have a good argument to back up your hate.
Yeah.
I can, in all honesty, say that stuff is absolute rubbish.
It was Twilight fanfic, which he repurposed, reskinned to make money. And it's just like, I do poorly described plots in my pub quiz every week. My one for 50 Shades of Grey is basic bitches BDSM, because that is not BDSM. It's
it's nowhere near BDSM. That is just plain abuse.
Just watch Secretary.
It's utterly gross. So I mean, if you have a choice, like, putting the two are completely incomparable. Like, The Shape of Water is an absolutely beautiful love story, which just, it makes you just feel everything. Like, you know me, I love games and films and stuff that make me feel something, and this definitely made me feel something. Like, at times I was just like aching in my heart just watching this film. Like, I can't.
Yeah. That's what she calls an orgasm, aching in her heart.
It's like a little interior Joe film orgasm.
Oh, did you flood your basement?
No, I did not. Oh my god. So go and watch it. It's a beautiful film, up there with Pan's Labyrinth. Wonderful. And now I will stop.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it next week. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's just, oh my god, it's just stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Alex, you've been to see a very special podcast live this week, and it's not us.
No, I know. It's not you, sorry guys. Slightly cheated on you and paid money to see other podcasts.
How dare you?
Yeah,
but they're so good. They're so good. Anyway, we're talking about the Empire podcast, which are the podcasts for the Empire magazine that does that talks movies, TV shows, and so on. And they had their 300th episode, which they recorded in King's Place here in London. And I went there. They had guests were Ruth Wilson and Taron Egerton, so that was pretty nice. I think they already posted the live recording, so people can listen to it. Look, the only thing I want to add, I think the Empire podcast is one of the best podcasts out there. I subscribe to a lot of different shows, and this one is a must listen as soon as it comes up. This is how much I love it. And even when when I'm doing agenda for this podcast, and a lot of times I'm referencing the news and the posts that they put on the Empire website because these guys are just that good. So if you haven't listened to them before, please try them out because they are just so well informed about movies. They're a lot of fun. Yeah. The guys have a lot of chemistry together, which is really important in a podcast. And I think they do just so well. And yeah, they're just fabulous human beings. And I've really enjoyed the live show. They've been giving out a lot of crap, by the way. Before the podcast started, they were doing like a whole movie sort of question thing. I can't remember. They were asking either questions or name something. But one of them was like they would read the quote from the movie, and you had to guess which movie it was. And
I would have owned that.
the ridiculous thing was that I went with the fellow BRB alumni. I'm gonna say alumni.
Yeah.
Bleezey and our number one fan, Will Driver.
Yay!
While me and Will were just sitting there listening to them ask questions, Bleezey surprisingly knew so many of them, but he wouldn't freaking lift up his hand. He's like, I think that's it. We're like, lift your hand, and then they would say the answer, and he'd be like, damn it.
Oh, Bleezey, bless
Have faith
him.
in yourself. You know it.
I love Empire. Empire are cool. Like, I followed Empire for years. Like, I used to get the magazine when I was a teenager.
same.
I
got it
had
all the
hundreds
time.
of them piled up that I just had to get rid of because they took up too much space. I met Terry Gilliam because of Empire magazine.
I hate you.
And so they're always going to have a little place in my heart because they made it so that I could meet Terry Gilliam. So yeah, Empire are awesome. Definitely second everything you said.
Okay, moving on. Diarmuid, you've been watching The Post?
Yes. To be honest with you, the only reason I wanted to bring this up is because I think a lot of people seem to be sleeping on this film.
Streep and Hanks.
Exactly. And like, I've been mentioning this at work, and I've been mentioning this to other friends and all that kind of stuff. And like, nobody seems to know what the hell this is. So it's kind of one of those things that it was released at the end of last year, but it was still in cinemas, so I got to see it more recently. And it was one of those kind of films that I kind of went to see pretty much knowing what I was going to get. It's directed by Steven Spielberg, has Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, has some incredible writing, set during the 70s. It's all of these kind of, and it's a kind of a political thriller drama sort of thing. And it's just really well done. It's like, you know what you're going to get when you get in there, and you get it. And it's still really, really good. Like, it still feels like you've got exactly what you paid for when you got your cinema ticket. That's what you wanted to get. If you're not aware of the story, it's set in the early 70s. Meryl Streep's character, her name is Catherine Graham. She's the current owner of the Washington Post. And they're about to go public, with shares on being sold in the company to try and get some more money in, because even then, like, newspapers weren't doing very well. So it's a really kind of stressful time for her. Like, she admits herself she's not meant to be in charge. Her father, who owned the Post previously, gave the Post to her husband rather than her. When he did that, she accepted it because she explains it in the movie. That's how it was done. Like, she never felt bad about that. It's one of those. It's a really well done movie, by the way. You should really watch it because it kind of goes into her and just how strong she was. Because she basically, what happens is, around that time, around just when they're about to go public, all these bankers come in and say, okay, we'll give you money, but we have this contract in place. Basically, the contract says that if in the time it goes public to when, about a week later, I think, when the money actually comes through, if something catastrophic happens, we can pull out, which would basically be a death sentence for the paper, right? In that week, or like just before it, the Pentagon Papers are released. So if you're not aware, these were kind of classified Pentagon documents that were leaked out to, at the time, I think it was what was the paper called? The New York Times. They were the ones who got it first. And they decided to start publishing stories from these papers. It's a very much kind of like almost a Snowden thing, but it was back in the 70s.
Was it Deep Throat?
No, this was, okay, I'll get to that. This was before that.
Okay.
This was
before
that.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't 100% sure of the timings.
Yeah. So what happens is they start publishing stories, and the government under Nixon immediately kind of clamps down on them and takes them to court. So they can't publish anymore until this court hearing is pushed through or whatever. And a decision has to be made. And it's basically one of those kind of freedom of the press kind of stories. But during that time, Tom Hanks's character, Ben Bradley, and his reporters get a copy of the papers as well. And there's this big thing about whether they go to print with stories based on these papers. And that's the decision that's kind of left to Catherine to kind of make. If she does that and they get brought to court by the papers and kind of shut down, then that's the end of her paper, and she will be blamed. And it's like and obviously she wants to do the right thing. She wants to do not only the best thing to keep her company going, because there's so many people hired and that she needs to pay and kind of for livelihoods and so on, and she wants to keep her family in charge of the post. But there's also, she wants the truth to be told as well, because like it's really important. And it's just really well done, really well acted. Yeah, if you get a chance to see it, I'm fairly sure it's going to be out of most cinemas by now. If you get a chance to see it, go and see it. If you don't, watch it as soon as it becomes available on like Netflix or whatever it's going to be available on. It is really well done, really well put together, incredibly well written. Yeah, I think it's really worth seeing. It's a really good story.
It looked really cool. I definitely wanted to see it. Like, I'll watch anything with Meryl Streep. She's just, But, yeah, it's one of those that kind of, like, felt a bit Oscar bait.
Yeah.
But never really got the traction. It didn't really kind of pick up any steam.
I thought she got nominated a bunch.
Yeah, but she's always nominated. Meryl Streep's like nominated every year. Whether she's in a film or not.
Yeah, I saw the banners on all the like London buses for it, and it's literally like the back of Tom Hanks. That's the image.
Hanks. Streep.
Yeah,
Hanks. I love that. I mean, that's how you advertise a Streep and Hanks movie.
It's all you really need to know, really.
Yeah. No, I definitely want to see it.
It's a really good film, but I think more importantly, it's incredibly timely. Currently, with the way the press is being treated in America, it's and everywhere else, really. It's really timely. It's just a really good film. If you get a chance, go and see it. Basically, that's all I'm going to say.
Fantastic. So I'm going it back a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am, but rightly so. So been rewatching some of the Marvel properties this week, as Thor Ragnarok is out digitally from Tuesday, the 20th of February. Much excitement, and we saw a glimpse of Daryl's new roommate in the form of the Grandmaster. Which is always fun. So I went back and rewatched Slither.
God.
Yeah, so I was showing the fella James Gunn PG porn
Yeah.
the other week, which is fabulous and ridiculous as well. I've mentioned it a few times on the podcast, but if you can find it, it's on Vimeo of all places.
That's weird.
And I think you can find a couple of them on YouTube because it says porn. I think the algorithm doesn't like it.
I see.
But like Slither is utterly fantastic. Who's seen Slither?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I remember watching it way back when, yeah.
Alex?
What? Hello? Can't hear
I'm
you.
So Slither is
2006, wasn't it? Crikey, yeah.
Yeah, when I was leaving blooming high school, blooming hell. So it's James Gunn's kind of monster movie, type like invasion movie. It stars Michael Rooker, who is fabulous,
and Nathan Fillion.
I was getting to him.
Like,
do you think I would forget Nathan
well, exactly.
Fillion?
That was what was worrying me for a moment. I was like, what? Have you had a stroke?
The eternal pain. No. We're going Michael Rooker, who is fantastic.
Okay. Excellent.
As Yondu. Then we got Elizabeth Banks, who again is a eternally friendly woman. And then we have Nathan Fillion. Enough said, really. Enough said. And he is our hero. He's our small town sheriff. Should have got the girl, didn't get the girl. Lost out to Michael Rooker. And these like sluggy kind of leechy creatures turn up and start.
I like this film. This is such a good film. Like, it just, as you're talking about it, I'm remembering it, and it's just such a B movie throwback.
I know, but it's fabulous. It's so good.
I think I can't remember, but I think it's based on a film, or I think it has similarities. Hang on,
it's based on a film called Slugs from the 80s.
Oh, Night of the Creeps. I've just looked. Night of the Creeps is another one that it's kind of has a lot in common with. Yeah, carry on. I'm just remembering it as you're talking. It's so good.
It's just completely like schlocky, sticky kind of not sticky. Get the CH in there. Kind of monster movie done by James Gunn, and it's just like utterly fabulous. Like, if you like Guardians of the Galaxy and what he's done with that, imagine what he's done with an alien invasion movie.
Yeah, with gross slugs.
Yeah, like 10 years beforehand. Yeah, it's gross, it's funny, it does have the elements of terror in it as well, but in the right kind of doses. And it's just a really fun kind of movie night movie. And I found it in the basement of Secret Weapon, so it's just like, yeah, I'm going to watch that this weekend.
That's so weird that you just found it in the basement of the pub. I mean, what?
Yeah, well, there are like boxes of DVDs, and I was looking for PS2 games of all things.
Oh, okay. It wasn't just sat there like on its own. Do you remember that thing that happened like ages ago where there was that copy of Hellraiser on VHS that someone had left on the top of a bus stop? And the people would go past it on the bus and check every day if it was still there. Like someone had just chucked a copy of Hellraiser on the top of a bus stop.
See, I never understood why people don't advertise on top of the bus stops, especially in London where you have so many double-decker buses, and that's pretty much the only thing you're looking at.
Oh,
so I've seen some weird stuff on top of bus stops. Like, I saw condoms, shoes. Just like, how did you get up there?
People. You're just gross.
How did you get up there in the first place? But yeah, if you want something schlocky and sticky and just generally fun, check out Slither. I don't think it's on any UK streaming services at the moment, but it'll be pretty damn cheap on DVD.
Yeah, you can pick it up on DVD for like a $5 or something. It's
if that. Okay, moving on to some old school role-playing games with Elle.
Come into my wizened corner. Let us talk about the role of play.
Lovely.
So everyone knows that I'm a massive addict of these tabletop fear roleplay games. And some of the games that I've been playing recently, we've been doing like one-shots.
Nice.
One of the one-shots that we did recently at a 48-hour gaming session was 7th Sea. If those, any of you aren't familiar with it, it's one of the games that AEG came out with, very similar to the roll and keep system that Legend of the Five Rings has. So it's quite dangerous, it's quite fast-paced, dice rolls can explode, and the theme is very, very swashbuckling. Do love a good bit of pirate action. Especially seen as Sea of Thieves has gained momentum. It's like, oh, well, let's play 7th Sea instead. So I had a really, really good laugh playing this game. I know a lot of people can have issues with the roll and keep system. If you have players who are quite character precious, and might have an issue with their characters dying very, very quickly or very, very suddenly, it might not be the best system for you.
Well, you just do a new character for a one-shot anyway, wouldn't you? Like,
yeah.
I don't know, I kind of feel like for a one-shot, it's a one-time character thing anyway. Like, I don't know, that's how I always played it. It's like, oh, it's a one-shot, right, new character just for this.
Yeah. It's so for longer campaigns, people might want to steer away from it, but
yeah,
I think it's a massive laugh. I love this game. It's so thematic, and I actually really enjoy the roll and keep system. I think it can make massively heroic feats. But
what is the roll and keep system?
So you have specific dice. It all depends on your skill. But say you have a D4 and you roll a like a 4, you keep the 4 and you roll it again. So if you hit another 4, you keep that 4, you roll it again. So if you like crit your dice, you can get to ridiculous numbers. So say if you've got a skill that for some reason you've been given a D20 and you hit a D20 and you keep critting. It's craziness.
God, I would never do that. I almost never roll a nat 20 anyway.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't happen.
Get some loaded dice.
Yeah. Get the load. No, don't get the loaded dice.
I'm just about to, I'm just starting GMing a campaign at the moment, and I'm just like, my party are just going to have such an easy time because none of their enemies are going to roll nat 20s ever. So
that's
fine.
what the screen is there for.
Yeah, I'll be like, yeah, it was totally a nat 20.
I think it's really cool. I think it's a good setting for having a laugh.
Oh, were you saying ahoy mateys and yo-ho-hos?
Some of us were. A lot of us couldn't speak the same language, so there were some interesting interactions. Languages are a big deal. So there was another character who hated my career type. I was a swords master and a duel master. And so we had a very good, like, glaring match, like, we're going to stab each other. I have no idea what you're saying. So insulting each other and being able to understand what we're saying OC is quite hilarious when we can't understand in character what we're saying. Really, really good game. Would really recommend it if you get a chance to play it, if someone's running it. Just go have a laugh. It's especially if you like pirates. Pirates are cool.
I feel like more people should play RP anyway. Like, I know it's become more and more popular in recent times, which is great, but it's just so brilliant for, like you say, things like world building and just character and having fun and playing a role. It's just, I would love everyone to try an RP game at some point in their lives. Just, they're so cool.
Hey, I really, really want to. My problem is, well, I have arranged with someone to sort of try it out come summer. But my problem is keeping the group going. Like, it's really hard to arrange that kind of stuff. And I can't just find... I want someone committed, someone who will be, like, excited to do this every often. And it's just been...
I'd love to do it. It's just timing.
See, if you two lived in Leamington or Warwick, you could be in mine. But you don't.
I have a valid point to raise. Do any of you know about Roll20?
Yeah, but I like playing in person. I don't like it online.
That's fair. If you are someone who is okay with playing online, because I know not everyone can be lucky like me and play in person 3 times a week, Roll20 might be something that you could, have a little bit of a dip into. For me, I don't mind playing online. Sometimes it's a little bit of a difference. Playing in person 3 times a week might get something a little bit to spice things up a bit, maybe a crazy one-shot online. So if you're open to online sessions, Roll20 might be a good place to find other groups of people who want to play a game. Leading on to, we've recently stopped the Star Wars roleplay that I was GMing on a Monday, had a little bit of burnout. So we've started playing Earthdawn. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Earthdawn.
No.
I've heard the name, but I don't know what it is.
It's really like fantasy-esque. Really love the setting. It's in somewhere called Barsave. You have rock people. Obviously, after watching Guardians of the Galaxy 2, you might want to play a rock person.
Nice.
They're called Obsidian. You've got lizard people called Shrang. I play a Shrang. They're really cool. Some of them have wings. They've all got tails. Some of them are cannibals. You've got windlings.
Nice.
Yeah. It's this really, really rich fantasy setting where everyone was kept in cairns, so these cities under the ground. Loads of bad stuff happened, like demons and all that kind of stuff. And as the cairns are opening up to this like safe world, you're kind of going out and exploring. And you're building on your legend to become the most heroic characters you possibly can. So you'll have something which is known as your spark, which is your calling, which is kind of like your career or your class.
Oh, nice.
And you'll want to be building upon actions that are in keeping with your class themes in order to build your reputation. Because it's not so much about experience, it's all about your legend, like how much people are talking about you and the acts that you've done, which I think is a really cool thing to do.
Yeah, that's
well.
a bit different. Yeah, that's quite cool. I like that.
So would recommend also if anyone is... wandering by some dusty tomes. Earthdawn happens to be one of them.
There's so many like systems. I think this is one of the wonderful things about RP again. There's so many different types of systems. Like obviously you've got the classics D&D, Pathfinder, and all the ones you've mentioned. But also you can make your own. Like mine is based on 5th edition D&D. But it's in an entirely different world where there's basically kaiju running around.
Of course
there's kaiju.
Of course.
So that's the wonderful thing. It's so adaptable and it's your world. It all comes from your own imagination and creativity. And I love that. So yeah, brilliant. Sounds awesome, Elle.
It's good times. Would recommend.
All right, so moving on. Alex, you've seen one of the most anticipated movies of this year.
Hype.
Yep.
Hype.
So hype.
Hype.
I've seen Black Panther.
I'm so excited. I'm seeing this next week. Can't wait.
It's really, really good, guys. I'm not gonna lie. It's really, really good for a lot of different reasons. There will be no spoilers in this discussion. I will generally talk about themes and stuff that I liked in very general terms, so don't worry.
Awesome.
The very beginning, the very premise of it starts with T'Challa returning back to Wakanda to be a king. And that pretty much, pretty much it. it. You know that Michael B. Jordan shows up at some point, because if you've seen trailers, you know that happens.
Oh yeah, he's the baddie, right?
Yeah, he's the baddie.
That's good.
You know, Lupita Nyong'o is there. Denai Guerrera is like...
She's so cool.
Amazing, cool warrior woman. Daniel Kaluuya is there. Apparently he's there a bit more than he was supposed to be in the beginning. I think they added...
Yeah.
Get Out got a bit of a wind. They were like, we need more of that guy. You know, Martin Freeman, a token white man, is in there.
Of course.
You know how we used to have a token black man? Well, now we have a token white man.
I love all the jokes
What about
as
Andy
well.
Serkis?
Yeah, exactly. That was my point, is that there's been so many jokes because of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings that they're the token white men.
Yeah.
That is terrible, and I love it.
I know. I obviously didn't come up with that. I saw it on Twitter and just thought it was wonderful.
Beautiful. You know, Angela Bassett plays T'Challa's mother.
she's in it.
She's fabulous.
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
her.
First of all, I'll start with the juvenile comment. But oh my god, there's so many hot people on the screen. It's just overwhelming. I'm sorry, but black people are just so much hotter than white people.
They can be, definitely.
They're all so freaking good looking. It's I don't know, it's like cake, but on the screen.
Cake on the screen.
You say cake on the screen.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We all love cake.
You found your title. You have,
Cake on
you
the
have found
screen.
your show title right there.
Oh my god, Alex. Oh my god.
Cake on the screen.
I don't know. I think it might be talking, but anyway, it's just they're all so good looking, and they're all so pretty, and the costumes are all so amazing.
Oh yeah, I saw them at MCM
Yeah.
last year. They were gorgeous. Like the red dress, I think Lupita wears.
Well, I don't know. It's the warrior women that wear it.
Well, there was one really long, like red gown that I saw at MCM, and it was gorgeous. And it was just like,
Oh,
I just want that.
She
please.
wears it in one fight scene,
yes.
Yeah.
and it is absolutely beautiful the way that it
so
captures
nice.
her motion, like between the levels of like the house that they're in. It's absolutely fantastic.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
I just want that dress. I just want that dress.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. But I mean, the most important thing about this movie, and I think that makes it a really good movie. Well, number one, it's completely standalone. I think I don't even think you need to know who Martin Freeman is or was before that. You don't really need to know who Andy Serkis was before that. You don't even need to know who T'Challa was, because they have flashbacks to explain it all. So this literally could have been your first Marvel movie to see, and it would have been great, because it has everything. It's kind of a combined story within itself, and whatever you get there, whatever you see, you don't need to understand anything about the Marvel universe to get this movie. The second important thing about this film, and Zack Snyder, if you're listening, please take notes, is that the superhero bit of it is there to amplify the character. It is not the important thing. The whole movie bases itself around the characters rather than the fight scene.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
in terms of that, it's an incredibly human stories, and the powers are there just to amplify certain points rather than be the center and the focus of it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be fair, whenever I like something about a superhero movie, that's the thing I like about it, the human element. And before anyone says to me, oh, you're hating on DC movies, I will remind you that I liked the first 2/3 of Wonder Woman, which were about that, and I didn't like the CGI fight extravaganza at the end, which wasn't about that. So I'm consistent in my opinion. Thank you very much.
I rewatched Wonder Woman very recently. I still love it. She's ace. Like, she kicks people out of windows and it's brilliant. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, she's completely ace. But, yeah, so it's incredibly human story, and it's an incredible, actually, relevant story. And I think it's a lot of questions that we kind of haven't asked. And I mean, one important thing to notice, I don't really want to speak too much about this in detail, because look, we're all gonna put our hands up and say these are 5 white people right here. So we probably not the best people to discuss the themes of Black Panther in any details, because I don't think we understand them completely. But to me, the thing that this movie proved, and I knew it was gonna do this straight away, is the fact that this is the mindset. This is why I don't understand the bigoted racist people, because I think a lot of its appeal was that I have not seen anything like this before on the screen. It has such a distinct character for everything it does, from music, for costume, from the way it's filmed, for how people talk, that I was basically, it was literally a feast for eyes. I was sitting, everything was new. Everything was so interesting. Mm-hmm. Everything was such a fascinating, the culture, the history, they have the whole design of Wakanda, the city, which has so many references. Like, they do the flyby by the city, and your eye is just like, oh my god, this is references to this, and this is a reference to this. It is so gorgeous and so rich in all of that. And that's why I think there should be more movies about that stuff. And you know what? Like, say, for example, as an example, let's take Tony Stark, right? And the movie about a rich, misunderstood guy who is also a genius, who is saving the world. Yeah, it's sort of done well in Iron Man, but it is also a story that we've seen over and over again with the different sets of characters, that's sort of in a different maybe universes or with slightly different premises, but we have seen this again and again and again. This, I don't think we have seen. And the story is very simple, actually, overall. But it is something so completely new, which makes it instantly very, very interesting.
Oh, I'm so hype. I can't wait.
I really love, because I know that you said that we're all white people in the room. We can't really talk that much about how important it is to have this level of representation in film. However, I have to say I really appreciate some of the humour that they've put into the film.
Yeah.
So I recently listened to Mina Fombo at TEDx Bristol. She did a wonderful talk about No, You Cannot Touch My Hair, which is a lot to do about how...
I saw that.
A lot of people get harassed daily because of their natural hair.
She's got this lovely afro, hasn't she? Like big, beautiful hair, yeah.
Absolutely beautiful person. Really would recommend listening to her stuff. And I think it's really important that they put some highlights to that in the film. I think there are a couple of really, really good pieces of hair-centric comedy. And also, I really think it's important to have other hairstyles than the typical blonde straight hair on film. Because it's good for little girls to look up and be like, oh, my natural hair is absolutely fine because it's represented.
You know, slightly off topic of Black Panther, but like seeing the trailer for Infinity Wars now, like Scarlett Johansson is just going blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's not Natasha Romanoff.
She was a redhead.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, look, another thing to add, actually, is another important thing. It's not only because of, the color of the skin of the actors that is important, but if you notice, this is a movie with 4 absolutely badass women in a completely, who are completely different from one another. And I think, again, this is me stealing from my favorite Joanna Robinson. I've seen her post a picture where it's like 4 women from Black Panther among the shot for Avengers, where they only have Natasha Romanoff as like one woman. And you're like, yeah, you know what? It's not just about that. It's about representation for women as well, because there's 4 characters that are so different from each other.
It's exciting. It's really exciting.
A really lovely and strong visual to capture on the screen. The amount of women that are in this film, specifically in the larger fight scenes. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
And they're not window dressing, are they? Like, from what I've seen, they're like front and centre. It's like what we were talking about before when awful Justice League came out. It's like, you compare the Amazons in Wonder Woman to the Amazons in Justice League, and in Justice League they are window dressing. Yeah. And in Wonder Woman they are strong warriors. So I'm so hyped for this. I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the amount of headlines I saw that are saying like why the women of Wakanda like ruled the place is just like, that's nice to see. I'm looking forward to this movie.
I love that it's making a ton of money as well, so all those stupid racists that said it would fail can just shut their faces. But also, like, one thing that is quite interesting, like, it's kind of silly, but all the people saying, oh, it's the first black-led superhero movie. It's not. Like, people need to remember
Blade.
A film called Blade. Yeah. But what's great about it is that it's opening up that sort of world to so many people who possibly weren't aware of Blade, maybe, because obviously it's very much of its time.
Go and watch Spawn as well, please.
Oh, yes, Spawn.
But don't watch the one with Shaq in it. I can't remember what it's called, but don't watch that. But Yeah, no, I'm so hyped. I'm so glad you enjoyed it, Alex.
Yes.
It's exciting.
I know. I'm just gonna finish with the performances and then we can move on or talk about something. Or I'm gonna stop talking, rather. But man, everyone is absolutely amazing. Denai Guerrera steals every scene she's in.
Oh, she's so
Michael
cool.
B. Jordan he's doing a Michael A. Jordan type of game, honestly. Letita Wright, who plays T'Challa's younger sister, is adorable beyond belief. She's so good. Everyone, Chadwick Boseman, he's sex on legs. What can I tell you? He's just so good. You know what? Just go watch. It has
so
not
excited.
become my favorite Marvel movie, but I'm pretty sure it made its way, if not in top 3, it made its way in top 5. Easily.
Good.
T-minus 2 hours, I'll be seeing it.
Oh, shut up, Di. I've got to
can't
wait till
wait.
Wednesday. Or maybe Tuesday. I might see it Tuesday, actually.
I have to wait till next weekend.
Oh, no.
I know, and I haven't seen Coco yet. I haven't seen Shape of Water.
I haven't seen Coco yet either.
Coco annoyed me, right?
Why?
Because
Oh, you've seen it?
No, I haven't seen it, and that's what annoys me, because it was showing here at the cinema near me, but only in the day. Like, they didn't have any evening showings at all. And I was like, guys, come on! Adults love Pixar too!
I know, and it's Dias de la Muerte. It's like,
Yeah.
skulls.
Do you know what? I'm normally pretty much a huge grump when it comes to films, but I think I only had one complaint in the Black Panther, to be honest with you, which is I wish the fight scenes were slower. Don't know whether it's because of my eyes, withering away in my skull, but I couldn't appreciate them as much as I wanted to.
I mean, there is a bit of a CGI overdone a little bit at the end as well.
Oh, that's par for the course for Marvel movies, isn't it? It's like the last third always degenerates into a CGI nonsense fest.
Not as much as you'd think. There's a little bit of that, but not as much as you'd think. It's actually not that bad. I mean, look, it's a really, really good movie. I don't know if it's a fantastic movie. I need to watch that a couple of more times. I've only watched it once, but on the first watching, it's a really, really good movie.
I'm so excited. I've been kind of like not getting too excited about this movie for a while, because I was kind of like, a bit trepidatious, sort of thinking, well, I think it's going to be great, but wait and see. But now that everyone loves it and it's doing really well, I'm so hype. The hype has just gone, wah!
The hype is real.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would calm your hype, because if you overhype things, they're not as good as they are.
Yeah, but see, I'm kind of different in that I get so hype about stuff and then I just love it even more, even if it's not really that good.
Okay.
See, like Alien Covenant, right? Which I still love, even though it's not really that good. So,
Muy terrible.
It's all good.
That is all our topics for our 3-year anniversary episode. I was going to say video then. It's not a video.
No.
And we have a lot of shout-outs. So, we have shout-out for Tim. Rockard Kirk. That's a new one.
Kirk?
Sorry.
That's a new one. I like it. We haven't had that one before.
That's his new name now. I'm sorry, Richard, you are now Rockard.
Rockard.
I think he would accept that,
Rock
I'll
on.
be honest.
Yeah, it's like giving him too much credit.
Did anyone else think of Wellard from EastEnders?
Oh, that freaking dog.
He was the best thing in it. He was the only reason. I don't watch EastEnders because it's garbage. But when Wellard was in it, I would happily watch just kind of a little bit, because there was a dog in it.
It's a good doggo. Ian Crane, Will Driver, Gabrielle, Stingo, Bleezey Boy, War Machine, and Diarmuid.
Diarmuid's here.
I'm here.
He can't be...
I can shout out myself. Yay!
How
Shout
meta.
out to me.
That's so meta.
We have some comments / some questions, so I'm going to quickly read that. So from
Ooh.
Will Driver says, still can't believe it's been 3 years, only feels like yesterday. But here's to hoping many, many more. Thank you. Okay, so now there is a big one from Gabrielle, which says, Happy Geek Speak-aversary. I'm relatively new to the show, so my memories might be new, but there was a time I accidentally might have made Alex think that I was okay with cannibalism. Because I hadn't seen a certain movie all the way through. Or the time Lauren called me Dream Daddy, I'm in swoon. And last but not least, who could forget the time Joe called Mother a brilliant film, instantly making me feel better about liking DC movies and the prequels. Thanks for that, Joe. Anyways, happy anniversary, and I look forward to many more.
Thank you, Dream Daddy Gabriel.
And I've got questions from Bleezey. We're not going to answer some of them because some of them are ridiculous.
Oh my god, Bleezey.
But we might answer some of them. Okay, so question number 1. What is your favorite rant / discussion from recording Geek Speak, minus Joe's rant about Transformers?
Yeah, that is a good one.
If we're talking about our own rants, then the one that I remember just going like really annoyed is when I was talking about Resident Evil and trying to make sense of that.
That was brilliant. I loved your Resident Evil recap. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I think my one was when I was trying to fathom pet.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Pet broke Lauren.
Pet broke me. Pet broke me.
Oh, brilliant.
That is not.
Yeah. I love having a good rant. It's really good.
I've been on the show a few times. I don't think I've ever ranted about anything.
You're too much of a teddy bear to rant.
You're too chill, Di.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
Yeah. I'll never know that joy, clearly.
Have a good rant sometimes. It's good for you.
Yeah, we promised to have Elle more for next year, so she'll have something to rant about too.
I do love a good rant, but I'm on my best behaviour. I try not to
feel
swear
bad.
here.
Question number 2. Who is your favorite guest host from Southwest, like Gloucestershire? Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, Bleezey.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Wales counts, right?
And actually, to be fair, I'm from the Southwest and I was a guest originally before I became a host, so I say myself.
Official ranking of Geek Speak fans. Okay, we're not doing this again, Bleezey.
No.
Moving on.
That's
No.
already been done. There's been a fight, there was blood, there was wars, there was treaties. It's been done.
Yeah. Exactly. Number 4. Is it physically possible for Lauren to hear we have this friend who likes something bad and not assume it's me?
No. No. It's always going to be you, Bleezey. It will always be you, and I will tell you that tonight as well.
Okay, when is the next run coming? I don't know, when something bad comes out, Bleezey.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure I'll see a bad film soon. You know the rules. I see the bad films, so you don't have to. Hey!
There you go. I mean, look, Lauren is still watching Riverdale. I'm sure a rant isn't coming at some point or the other.
Oh, yeah. Because there's going to be a musical episode soon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay, so look forward to
Oh,
that.
yeah, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Oh, my God. I forgot that I'm up to date on Riverdale as well. Oh, God. Next week. Oh, next week.
There you go. Next week, Bleezey.
Question 6. When am I next allowed on? Well,
You're not.
suspense.
You're not.
7. Is 7 messages in the space of a day something I should be worried about when being a stalker or keen? Yes.
What?
Question 8.
Say that again? What?
Say that again, yeah.
Is
What?
7 messages in the space of a day something I should be worried about than being... The grammar in this thing is ruined, but I think he's saying...
The amount of messages he sends us. Oh, my God.
I think that's what he's
Sorry.
talking about. Anyway.
Yeah, you message too much, boy.
Okay.
Put it in one message. Be concise.
Question 8. If you could go back and watch/play a game for the first time all over again, what would it be? And why is it Mass Effect 2? It's not.
The Last of Us.
Last
The
of
Last
Us.
of Us. Last of Us. 100%.
Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, yeah.
Metal Gear Solid.
Dragon Age Inquisition, hello?
Nice.
Thomas was alone.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I might actually choose something like Myst, like a good old classic puzzly kind of game.
Nice.
If only I could erase my memories.
I know, that would
Give
be
it
good.
time.
That'd
I'm
be
sure
good.
they'll find a way.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I think we're done.
Yeah?
Thanks for all the questions, Bleezey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not allowed on. Oh, well. So, the next time you're allowed on is when you can complete a piece of artwork to the allotted time frame.
It is really good, though. The artwork is really good.
Oh, yeah.
How
so
long did it
let's
take
give them
her?
that.
How long did it take?
Look, the fact is, it's completed and it's good. So let's do this
Yeah.
now on the episode. So,
Yeah.
if you're seeing this episode and you're seeing a post for it, you see the brilliant new artwork that we have that Bleezey has done. He's done a really
It's so
fantastic job.
cool.
It's really good looking. So give him all
Look
the
all the
love.
little Easter eggs in it. All the little things. Oh, it's wicked. I love it.
So yeah, we finally have Joe in our picture.
Yay!
After like a year and something of Joe joining the podcast.
Di, you're kind of in it as well because
You're
Baby Winston is in it.
Wait, I'm in it? I haven't seen this. I need
Baby
to see this.
Winston.
Baby Winston is in it, and he's kind of you. So
Loving in the little
Okay,
baby
Elle,
Winston.
you can either be Guru Dragon or a Godzilla. Pick one.
I mean, Godzilla is like the choice.
Anyway, the artwork is amazing. Thank you so much, Bleezey. Send love
Yes,
to
thank
him.
you, Bleezey.
Check out the artwork because we're so hyped for it.
Okay, so that is everything for episode 125 of Big Red Barrel Geek Speak. If you would like to leave us a little comment, you could do so on the forums at BigRedBarel.com. You could do so on Facebook, facebook.com/BigRedBarel. BigRedBarel. You can go on the Game Nights groups on there, meet some lovely people, play some lovely games. You can use Twitter at BigRedBarel and use the hashtag Geek Speak, or use our personal Twitters. I'm at the Sweet Shrimp.
I'm at DustyTube _.
I'm at Pixel Ritual.
I'm at Diarmuid_S.
Or at Escaping IRL. Woo!
You can also leave us a little review on iTunes, 5 stars is preferred, whatever you think we deserve, pop it on there. You can also go meet Alex IRL at Loading Bar in Dalston at Tabletop Tuesday. Every single week we have a new featured game which you can win that very evening. All you have to do is play the game. Don't even have to win your round. Let the people hosting know that you played it, and by 10:30 that very evening you could have won it. What's the featured game this week, Alex?
The featured game this week is Game of Thrones: The Iron Throne. It is based. The artwork is based on the TV show, and the gameplay is based on Cosmic Encounters. And Cosmic Encounters is a really great game.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
You can also go onto the Big Red Barrel Discord group and speak to some lovely people on there. Have I missed anything?
You haven't missed anything, but I just wanted to give a last shout out. If you haven't already listen to my interview with Alex Wilton Regan, because I'm
do it.
super hyped for this, and she is such a darling. She's such a lovely person. So yes, please do.
Fantastic. So, for our 3-year anniversary and episode 125 of Big Red Barrel Geek Speak, I've been Lauren.
I've been Bets.
I have been Joe.
I've been Diarmuid.
And I've been Elle.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you very much to our very special guests, Elle and Diarmuid. And we bid you goodbye.
Bye. Bats.
You and your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
To BigRedBarel.com
for more podcasts?
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarel.com